Welcome, explorer of mysteries. Today, we will journey back in time to a world that existed long before the rise of Egypt, Babylon, or Assyria, a world that gave birth to some of the oldest secrets and legends of humanity. Welcome to Sumer, the first great civilization, a land nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, where the sands of Iraq now cover the ruins of once mighty cities. This is a place where human ingenuity met the unknown, where gods and mortals walked side by side in stories etched in clay thousands of years ago. Imagine yourself standing in the heart of southern Mesopotamia over 5,000 years ago. In this arid land, the Sumerians built cities from nothing, transforming mud and reeds into vast urban centers. They invented writing, law, monumental temples, and advanced systems of irrigation. But beyond their technical achievements, the Sumerians left behind a legacy of myths, legends, and mysteries that continue to captivate us even today. In the Sumerian worldview, life was a delicate balance between humans and the divine. Every city had its patron deity, Inanna in Uruk, Enki in Eridu, Enlil in Nippur, Nana in Uar. These gods were not distant, but active participants in the daily affairs of humankind. Temples called ziggurats towered above the cities, built as bridges between earth and sky. Priests carefully observed the movements of the stars, performed rituals, and interpreted omens, seeking to maintain harmony between mortals and the gods. But within the pantheon of Sumerian deities, there was a mysterious group known as the Anunnaki. According to ancient texts, the Anunnaki were powerful gods who descended from the heavens to shape the destiny of the world. They were said to be judges, creators, and sometimes destroyers, controlling the fate of both humans and lesser gods. Some myths claim the Anunnaki created mankind to serve them, molding the first humans from clay and breathing life into their forms. The oldest stories of the Anunnaki can be found inscribed on clay tablets, records that have survived for millennia thanks to the arid climate and the Sumerians' use of durable cuneiform script. These tablets tell tales of epic floods, cosmic battles, and the founding of the world's first cities. In the ancient city of Eridu, said to be the very first city on Earth, the god Enki is described as a wise and benevolent deity, teaching humans the arts of civilization. Eridu was believed to be the home of the gods before they descended to Earth, and the place from which the Anunnaki brought knowledge and order. Uruk, another legendary city, became known as the City of 1,000 Towers. Its most famous ruler, Gilgamesh, was part god and part human. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the world's oldest great literary work, tells the story of his quest for immortality and his encounters with gods, monsters, and the mysterious Utnapishtim, survivor of a great flood sent by the gods. The flood myth of Sumer would later echo through the epics of Babylon and even the stories of the Bible. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki gathered in council to decide the fate of the world. In some stories, they're depicted as judges in the underworld, determining the destiny of souls. In others, they are the architects of civilization, bestowing gifts of knowledge, invention, and law. The most famous Sumerian king lists describe reigns lasting thousands of years, attributing these impossibly long lifespans to divine rulers, perhaps a remnant of memories about the age of the Anunnaki. But who were the Anunnaki, truly? Some scholars believe they were simply the personification of natural forces or ancestral memories of powerful rulers. Others suggest they represent humanity's attempt to explain the mysteries of the cosmos and the origins of civilization. Yet, the enduring fascination with the Anunnaki has given rise to many theories. Some grounded in history, others venturing into the realms of speculation and the unknown. In recent decades, the myth of the Anunnaki has inspired countless alternative theories. Some propose that the Anunnaki were ancient astronauts, visitors from another world who brought advanced knowledge to humanity. This idea was popularized in the 20th century and remains a theme in books, documentaries, and online discussions. According to these theories, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth in fiery chariots, taught the Sumerians astronomy, mathematics, and engineering, and even played a role in the genetic creation of humankind. The Sumerians were indeed master astronomers. They built observatories on their ziggurats and developed a calendar based on the movements of the moon and planets. They identified Venus, Jupiter, and other celestial bodies, recording their positions and cycles with remarkable accuracy. Did this knowledge come solely from careful observation and mathematical genius? Or, as some suggest, was there an outside influence, perhaps even the Anunnaki themselves? The daily life of a Sumerian was shaped by the rhythms of nature and the will of the gods. Farmers worked the irrigated fields, growing wheat, barley, and dates. Merchants traded in bustling marketplaces, exchanging goods with distant lands. Artisans crafted jewelry, pottery, and intricate cylinder seals. Scribes, among the most respected members of society, recorded laws, transactions, and myths on clay tablets, ensuring the transmission of knowledge across generations. Sumerian society was highly organized. At the top stood the kings and high priests, believed to act as intermediaries between the people and the gods. Nobles and officials managed the affairs of the city-states, while skilled workers and traders formed the backbone of the economy. The lower classes included farmers, laborers, and sometimes slaves, though the boundaries between these groups were not always rigid. Women in Sumer had rights to own property, run businesses, and could even serve as priestesses. The Sumerians were innovators. They invented the wheel, the plow, and the potter's wheel. They developed advanced mathematics, using a base 60 system that still influences how we measure time and angles. Their legal codes, such as the laws of Uarnamu, set precedents for justice that would echo through the ages. Their art and literature, from grand statues to poetic hymns, were expressions of a culture in awe of the gods and the mysteries of existence. Yet, for all their accomplishments, the Sumerians lived in a world of uncertainty. The rivers that nourished their fields could also bring floods and destruction. Rival city-states frequently clashed over land and water. The will of the gods was unpredictable, and omens were carefully read in the stars, in the flight of birds, and in the patterns of oil poured into water. Disease, famine, and war were ever-present dangers, and the afterlife, as described in Sumerian texts, was a shadowy and uncertain realm. Among the greatest mysteries left by the Sumerians are their tales of the Anunnaki. In some stories, these gods were benevolent, guiding humanity and teaching civilization. In others, they were capricious or even hostile, unleashing disasters or demanding obedience. The Sumerian flood myth describes how the gods, displeased with humanity's noise and restlessness, decided to wipe out mankind with a great deluge, only to relent at the last moment, allowing a single survivor to repopulate the earth. Archaeologists continue to uncover the secrets of Sumer. The ruins of Ur, with its towering ziggurat, reveal the splendor of Sumerian architecture and religious devotion. The royal tombs of Ur, filled with gold, lapis lazuli, and the remains of nobles and their attendants, speak to a society of great wealth and ritual. Thousands of cuneiform tablets, painstakingly translated over the past century, offer glimpses into daily life, epic tales, business deals, and prayers to the gods. The Anunnaki, in particular, appear again and again in these ancient records. Their names and roles shift across different cities and eras, but they remain central to the Sumerian understanding of the cosmos. Some texts describe 7 great Anunnaki, others mention hundreds. Their influence extended beyond Sumer, appearing in the myths of Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria, and later inspiring stories in the cultures of the Middle East and beyond. As the centuries passed, Sumerian civilization faced new challenges. The rise of Akkad under Sargon the Great brought the first empire the world had seen. Later, the Gutians and Amorites invaded, and the political landscape shifted again and again. Yet, even as Sumer declined, its culture, language, and religious beliefs endured, absorbed and transformed by the civilizations that followed. Today, the legacy of Sumer and the mystery of the Anunnaki continue to capture our imagination. Were the Anunnaki simply gods invented to explain the forces of nature, or is there more to their story? Are there hidden truths buried in the ancient texts, waiting to be discovered? The fascination with the Anunnaki is not just about aliens or lost knowledge. It's about our desire to understand where we come from and what mysteries lie at the dawn of civilization. As we explore the ruins of Sumer, walk the ancient streets of Uruk and Eridu, and read the words left behind on clay tablets, we are reminded that the line between myth and history is often thin. The stories of the Anunnaki challenge us to look beyond the surface, to question, to wonder, and to seek the truth hidden in the sands of time. The journey into the world of Sumer is far from over. With every new discovery, with every translation of a forgotten tablet, we come closer to understanding the origins of civilization, and perhaps to unlocking the mysteries of the Anunnaki themselves. Daily life in Sumer was a rich tapestry of rituals, customs, and communal activities that brought people together amid the challenges of their world. Festivals marked the Sumerian calendar with vibrant celebrations dedicated to the gods, especially during harvest or the new year. The entire city would gather to witness parades, music, and offerings carried to the towering ziggurats. Musicians played lyres, drums, and flutes, while dancers performed in honor of Inanna, Enlil, and other deities, hoping to secure their favor for the year ahead. The architecture of Sumerian cities was both practical and impressive. Houses were built from sun-dried mud bricks, often clustered close together along narrow streets. Large cities featured public squares, granaries, and artisan workshops. The ziggurats, rising high above the rooftops, were the most striking structures, massive step platforms topped by temples. These monumental buildings required the labor of thousands and showcased the organizational skills and religious devotion of the Sumerian people. Education was highly valued. Sumerians established some of the earliest known schools, called iddubas, where boys, and sometimes girls, learned to read and write cuneiform. The teachers were strict, and students spent long hours memorizing lists of words, practicing symbols, and copying proverbs. Scribes who completed their training became essential members of society, handling contracts, trade records, and communications between cities. Trade was the lifeblood of Sumerian civilization. Merchants traveled far beyond the borders of Mesopotamia, exchanging textiles, grain, and pottery for precious stones, metals, and exotic woods from distant lands such as Anatolia, the Indus Valley, and the Arabian Peninsula. The rivers served as highways, with goods transported by boat, linking Sumer cities in an active network of commerce and cultural exchange. The Sumerians were also skilled in the healing arts. Priests and healers combined herbal remedies with incantations and prayers to treat illness. Medical texts written in cuneiform survive to this day, describing diagnoses, treatments, and surgical procedures. Some illnesses were believed to be caused by displeased spirits or the anger of the gods, and healing often involved rituals and offerings to restore balance. Leisure and entertainment played a part in Sumerian life. Board games like the Royal Game of Uar were popular among all classes. Storytelling and poetry were highly prized, with tales of heroes, gods, and ancient kings passed down through generations. Artists created intricate jewelry, cylinder seals, and statues, many of which have survived the ages and now reside in museums around the world. The role of women in Sumer was unique for its time. They could manage businesses, own property, and participate in religious ceremonies. Some women rose to positions of power as priestesses or even rulers. The goddess Inanna herself was a symbol of female strength and independence, and her stories reflect the complex roles women played in Sumerian society. The legacy of Sumer is all around us, from the concept of time to the written word. Their achievements in science, government, and art laid the foundation for civilizations that followed. Yet, despite their many accomplishments, the Sumerians remained humble before the vast mysteries of the cosmos, always seeking guidance from the gods and the Anunnaki. As we conclude this journey through the earliest chapters of history, remember that the sands of Mesopotamia still conceal countless secrets. Archaeologists continue to unearth new clues about the lives, beliefs, and innovations of the Sumerians. With every discovery, our understanding of these ancient people grows, and new questions arise. Questions about their origins, their gods, and the extraordinary stories they left behind. Let the echoes of Sumer inspire you to keep searching for knowledge and truth. The next chapters in our series will bring us deeper into the world of the Anunnaki, unravel more myths, and explore the enduring influence of Sumer on the civilizations that followed. Thank you for venturing with us into the dawn of history. Stay curious and prepare to unlock more mysteries in the next episode of our journey through time.